Hi, greeting. This recording is mostly for showcasing how you can use Postman to test API and OAuth. I'm using IBM API Connect to do that. But however, you can use any API or any OAuth provider to do this. So first of all, for IBM API-C, we would like to make sure it's up and running. So what you can do is you can do API-C services at where you launch your microservices. Give it a few minutes and we should be able to see the endpoint of it listening. So in this case, as you can tell, I'm running 3 instances of them. And the one that we're interested in and which is associated with this GitHub repository to talk about Postman is 4003. So another thing that you can do is if you're working with IBM API-C, what you can do is you can do a Docker PS. And within Docker PS, if you're working with IBM Data Power Gateway, in here, there's some good information to know. For example, Data Power Gateway, we're using 9090 as a web GUI port. So if you want to access in the Data Power web GUI port, you can always use this, 32813. And another tricks that you can do is you can do Docker logs-f with the container ID. So I'm not going to do that, but what this will do is it will display the server console of the IBM Data Power. So again, if you look at the 9090, which is the Data Power web GUI port, you can map it to this, in the Docker is being mapped to this port. So I'll just show it to you. So again, with this, mapping to that will map to the IBM Data Power web GUI port. So you can use it to debug Data Power web, Data Power scenario. And again, with the port listing on 443, this will also match up to the API edit in which the gateway is running on the 4003. So let's get started with the APIc Postman, actual Postman, which is the whole reason for this whole discussion. So Postman is a very nice product which you can use to test your API and you can use it to test OAuth. So in this case, I'm testing it against OAuth authorization code brand type. And I'm not using their OAuth 2.0, so I'm just using the standard, I'm treating it like a normal API, so I can show you some of the nice feature of the Postman. So first of all, if you go into the setting, within the setting, there are a couple of settings that you would like to know, that you would like to set up. For example, there is the SSL certificate verifications because Postman will be adding as a client, so we are not testing TLS communications. So ideally, you probably want to turn off with this kind of testing. Another thing is with the OAuth is doing lots of redirects. And in this case, I want to intercept the redirects. I don't want to redirect to a given locations. So again, I turn that off here. So now that we're done with that, another very nice features of Postman is the environment variable. So I set up some environment variable. So if you look at this, I already have testing some of this. So let's go ahead and change some of the environment variable. For example, the access token, I probably do not need to use this access token. I would like to show you some of the very nice little feature of Postman. So before I can do that, let me go ahead and remove the previous executed one. So let's change it to NA. Take a little bit longer. And then Control A, and A. Okay. So now, if you look at if you go back, look at my environment variable again, I have access token, which is nothing, refresh token, which is nothing. At the same time, I set up my client ID, client secret redirect URI, which is back to Postman again. And in the next recording, I will talk about how you want to use the Chrome plugin to use this. Then in that case, this will come into handy. Again, username and password together with those. So the way it's being done is, if you look at IBM API-C, I have a utility YAML in which it handles the basic authorization authentications. And this basic authentications is using username and password. And if you look at the OAuth provider, the provider itself will be using authentication again. It's using HTML form, and I'm using authentication against using username, password, spoon, and spoon. So against that endpoint. So let's get started let's go start with this whole Postman excitement, which is very nice. I mean, this is really a very nice tool. So before in any authorization dance, right, the first thing is is you need to get the authorization code grant type. So again, remember all those context variable I created earlier, and I build up the request using all those context variable here. So first of all, I'm going to send a request through. So now I'm sending the request through, and then here's the username and password, which translates into spoon, by the way. So now after we send the request through, I got the authorization code. So here's the authorization code that I would like to take advantage of. Remember, I disabled the redirect. That's the reason why I come back to the header here. Now I got the authorization code grant. Now, next thing is I need to convert this into the access token. So let's go ahead and replace this authorization code with the one we just received. Right? Okay, now let's go ahead and do that. Now, once we did that, we received the access token, which contains the access token refresh token. Now, one thing about the Postman, which is very nice, is you can write a script at the end. So what the script does, what my script does at the end is I'm checking for status code has to be 200, and then I'm picking up the access token and refresh token from the payload and put that in the context variable access token and refresh token. Now let's look at our environment variable now. If you look at our environment variable, my access token and my refresh token has been reflected to get to that information now, which is exactly the same as this, right? So let's go ahead and use this. So in our case, we're using the application here, which is we're getting a weather information. So if you look at the header, again, using bearer token with the access token that we received earlier. So let's go ahead and send it over. So here we go. So we got the new access token. This access token should match up to what we have here. Yep, and they do. So next thing we would like to do is let's do a token introspection again. Again, this using the access token. This access token again will match up to what we have here. And let's go ahead and send it over. Again, you will have the same request coming through. Now, one thing which is really nice is, remember we also keep track of the refresh token here. So now we can easily build up the refresh token grant type, which is in the body again. It has the refresh token and the refresh token. Now let's go ahead and send that over. This is the payload from the earlier one. So you can see it has changed again. So now this refresh token, again, it runs against the script post that. So now I'm going to pick up the new access token, new refresh token from that. So my access token refresh token has changed from the previously now. Now I can again use the same access token refresh token against this. So again, this will be changed with the new access token. So I hope this is helpful to you. Again, Postman is really, really nice on testing all this. I will put the Postman collection and the environment variable into the same repository as this recording. So I hope this is helpful to you.